Okay, hello again. In this last video for today, we are going to talk about how to report the results in the APA format. Now, I already run the analysis, and we have already obtained the results that we need. Now, it's just a matter of summarize all the information in a way that can convey the information to the other readers. And we have to do that, like all the writings in psychology, we use the APA format, the 7th edition of the APA format or APA style. Two things. Number one, what are the information that we need to report? And second, the format. Okay, so what information we need to report? Whenever we present information about a significance test, we always make sure that we provide the following 4 pieces of information. Number one, what was the test? And what was the purpose of the test? So if it's a t-test, it's pretty straightforward. We'll say something like, to examine blah, blah, blah. You describe the purpose of the test, right? To find the difference between such and such condition. What kind of test did you conduct? A two-tailed paired samples t-test was conducted at alpha equals 0.05. So it describes the exact information about the test that was conducted. It's a two-tailed test. It's a paired samples t-test. And the test was conducted at alpha equals 0.05. Now, sometimes people don't repeat this information every time, especially if it's a two-tailed test or it's alpha equals 0.05. They would discuss at the beginning or even in the method section of a paper. They would say all the tests were two-tailed and all the tests were conducted at alpha equals 0.05 unless otherwise stated, because the default is always two-tailed test and alpha equals 0.05. So that's the convention. So people don't always say that over and over again. But in this case, we're just going to say a two-tailed paired samples t-test was conducted at alpha equals 0.05. Okay, so next, having presented what kind of test was conducted, so next you present the test statistic and also the statistical decision. So the difference was statistically significant. T equals 4.00, P equals 0.01. So as convention, you need to present the degree of freedom for t-test in parentheses. So T parentheses 5 means t-test with 5 degrees of freedom equals 4.00, P equals 0.01. Okay, so you report the exact level of P, unless P is less than 0.001, in which case you would say P less than 0.001. Now, next, if the effect was statistically significant, then you report the effect size and the confidence interval. If the effect was not significant, do not report effect size or confidence interval. Okay, so in this case, P equals 0.01, so it was significant. Cons D equals 1.63. So 95% confidence interval for the difference was between 0.48 and 2.19. Right, so report the effect size and confidence interval if the effect was significant. And lastly, don't forget, we always present the sample statistics in the form of the mean or standard deviation. Mean and standard deviation. So it's the engagement scores during week 2, M equals 3.67, standard deviation equals 0.82. During week 14, M equals 2.33, and standard deviation equals 0.82. Because it's not enough to just say there was a significant difference. What were the means? What were the standard deviations? Okay, so the last part, this means and standard deviations can be presented in the text directly, or they can present it in a table. whether you choose to use a table or just present the information in the text, depending on how much, which is more clear, okay, which is more straightforward. If you are just reporting a 1 or 2 t-tests, and each t-test compares 2 means, it'll be simpler to just present the information in the text. But if you have lots of information to present, lots of descriptive statistics, then it may be a good idea to include a table. Okay, so we can talk about how to create a table in the APA format when we discuss the analysis of variance. But for t-test, it's good enough that we just present the means and SDs in the text. Okay, so far, this is about what information we need to present, what test was conducted, and what was the result of the test. And if the result was significant, what was effect size, confidence interval, and the descriptive statistics in the form of the means and standard deviations. Okay, so next question, of course, is the format. So what kind of format that the information needs to be? So here's a brief checklist, a couple of things. Double space. So when you write in APA format, everything manuscript is in double space. And if you are writing the results, results needs to be the level 1 heading. And the format of level 1 heading is centered, bold, and use title case heading, meaning it's upper and lower case. You use the uppercase for first letter of each content word. That's title case heading. And if you have sample statistic symbols like P, like T, M, SD, and etc. So all those needs to be in italic. So use italic font for sample statistic symbols. However, there's an exception. If the Greek letters, alpha, beta, and etc., do not use italic. And we already said sample descriptive stats can be presented in text or in a table. And for sample statistics, we use M, italicized, for mean. SD, uppercase SD, italicized, for standard deviation. Okay, so this is a basic checklist, but for more detailed guidance, please refer to the Number and Statistics Guide APA Style 7th edition. If you click on that link, it leads to a page. It gives you a lot more information, detailed information about how to report statistics, how to report numbers in the APA format. Okay, and I think that's it. Let me exit this part, and maybe I can switch back to. Oh, no, we need to format this part. So I already have the writing. To determine whether engagement scores during week 2 and week 14 was significantly different. That's the purpose of the analysis. A two-tailed paired samples t-test was conducted using alpha equals 0.05. Right, so that is the purpose of the analysis and what analysis was conducted. Next, the result. The result was statistically significant. T with 5 degrees of freedom equals 4.00, P equals 0.01. Explanation. What does that mean? Indicating that the engagement scores during week 14, M equals 2.33, standard deviation, was significantly lower than during week 2, M equals 2. During week 2, I think it's not 2.33. Let's double check. Let's see, 2.3, 3.67. Okay, so week 2, 3.67. and standard deviation equals 0.82. I believe that was 0.82. Yes, standard deviation remained the same. The effect size measured by Cohen's d equals 1.63, suggesting a larger effect. The 95% confidence interval of the difference was between 0.48 and 2.19. Right? Because the effect was significant, we report the effect size and also the confidence interval. Now, let's format the whole thing. Double space. And results, it's the level 1 heading, so it's centered and bold. And the first letter is in uppercase, so that's title case heading. Indent the first line. To examine T, so italicized. Alpha is a Greek letter, so it's not italicized. So T, italicized again. P is also italicized. M, for mean, italicized. Standard deviation, SD, uppercase. M, SD. Cohen's d, that's italicized. Okay, so looks good. A few other things, just those are very, very small things. Let's see. So 0.82. So instead of 0.82. The APA style rule is that if the maximum value is 1.00, then you omit the 0 before the decimal point. So for example, the highest alpha you can go is 1.00. It's probability. So alpha equals 0.05 instead of 0.05. P, the maximum p value is 1.00. So we don't say 0.01. So instead, it's just 0.01. But standard deviation can be greater than 1, therefore 0.82 instead of 0.82. Okay, and we always leave a space before and after the equal sign, so space. Okay, so APA format is not complicated. It's really about lots of details. And if you make some mistakes the first time, it's okay. But make sure that after you finish the writing, go over the format and use a checklist and compare your format with the number and statistics guide provided by APA. Proofread. And if you make a mistake, I think it's fine if it's the first time you're doing things, but try not to repeat mistake. So if you get feedback, say, okay, this is wrong. And next time, try not to repeat that mistake. Okay, so again, writing in APA format, writing not only the result section, but the entire paper in the APA format. This is something that we're going to practice in Psych 121, the next class, the next statistics class. But here in Psych 9, we want to get this process started, which is why starting from now, we are going to, after we discuss each test, we're going to have a little bit of practice how to report the results in the APA format. Okay, so let's see what else we have. Let me reload this page. Okay, so here is the part that I'm going to post lots of videos. And so that's the 4 topics for today. And some links where you can download G-Power instructions, some additional examples of APA output for t-tests, and that's the numbers and statistics guide provided by APA. Okay, so, and here's a worksheet for activity 9-2. So what this activity that you're going to do is you're going to interpret the SPSS output for a independent samples t-test. And then you're going to write a paragraph to report the results of the test. And it is due by the end of the day on Thursday. And you would go back to the page for, let's see, for samples, paired samples t-test. Okay, so that's the where you submit activity 9-2. Okay, so this is the end of this video.